All right, so it's going on in Russia, and guess what? It's also going on here in the United States. According to some figures, there are as many as 40,000 underground polygamists here. Now, who knows if that includes all the people who are unknowingly sharing their husbands with other women. But still, it's worth talking about. With all the baby boomers and with more women working, there's been a serious drop in the birth rate in this country over the last few years, at times by as much as 4%. So, should we consider polygamy as at least one idea to stimulate the population? Why not? Jeff Jarrett is a family and criminal defense attorney. He's in Seattle, Washington. Hey there, Jeff. I know you've been a pretty outspoken attorney who in favor of polygamy, and I know you've said that the government should not be able to mandate who you marry, whether it's group marriages, gay marriages, mail order marriages, marriages for convenience or for money, and that it should all be allowed. Talk about the legal implications here.
Well, it's basically, it's based on the right to contract, which is in the U.S. Constitution, and family law in the United States is run by the states. Each state does its own family law, and family law encourages contract. There's prenups, there's postnups, there's settlement agreements. So this really is consistent with the American tradition of contract law and family law contracts, but the argument of legalized polygamy, it stops at the age of consent, and I think that's very important. We talk about rights a lot, and people say, well, your right stops at the tip of my nose. You understand that metaphor? Same thing with polygamy, this argument of unorthodox or plural marriage, which is the proper term. Plural marriage stops at the age of consent, even if it were legal.
So you're really looking at this in terms of simply a contractual obligation, and certainly 13-year-old boys or girls don't really, have the right to be involved in signing contracts like this.
Exactly. Children don't have the capacity, that's the legal term, they don't have the mental capacity to contract. And that's what adulthood, turning 18 in most states. In Washington State, for example, a girl can get married at 17 without parental consent.
But you think she should have to be 18 and that this is all an issue of a contract. And I get your argument. The Constitution may be king here, but I also want to weave in this. I mean, in this country, we view ourselves as a society, and I think it would be easy, for example, to use, freedom of expression as a great reason why people should be able to walk down public streets naked. But as a society, we've agreed that that's not how we choose to live. There are countless other examples like this. So don't you think that this should factor in, that this should be taken into account? It's not just Constitution. We also need to make this not a black and white issue and weave in how we want to operate and be as a society.
I don't think so. I do think it's a right. It's an alternative lifestyle. It should be protected as long as it's victimless, as long as there's no rape going on or false imprisonment or forcing young girls. It should be legal. And just like when you legalize something, you take it out of the muck of the black market. Like legalizing prostitution, for example, we found that underage prostitution goes out the window when you legalize it and regulate it. And the same with polygamy. I think you'd see underage involvement drop as polygamists came out from underground. They are more likely to report domestic violence, rape, underage stuff. But when you criminalize it, you force it underground, and I think that's unhealthy.
You seem to have a very, sort of constitutionalist perspective. But I know in the report we just showed, another argument was that in Russia, there is simply a shortage of men. And so this shortage of supply leads to the need for sharing. Do you see this also as a valid argument that, it's out of necessity? And, here in the U.S. with the drop in the birth rate, maybe that could be a reason too?
Possibly. I mean, what's happening in Russia is great. It's the free market of dating, if you will, supply and demand. Men die. Women live longer than men. Men die in war, they die at work. And if us men, if we can just keep chugging along in our life, the ratio will benefit us. So in Russia, that's happening. And polygamy, I think, is a very practical, market-based response to supply and demand there.
Let's just talk, Jeff, on kind of a realistic, ground here. I mean, certainly we can argue legally, we can even argue societally, but this woman in the report said, oh, there's no competition between us. But I don't think that that's very normal, that in the United States of America that we wouldn't see, whether it's a woman having several husbands or the opposite. I mean, we know that in our nature, even animals get jealous. And, don't you think that this could also lead to a lot more, I don't know, strangling of the other wife or anything like that? I mean, it's very hard for me to swallow that women won't that women would allow this or men would allow this?
And I think you're right. I think even if it were legalized, I think culturally it would only remain 1 or 2 or 3%. Through studying anthropology, you look at polygamy and polyandry. It's been around for forever in human culture, but it's been kind of rare in pockets here and there. Especially American women. I mean, they're independent. It's your typical American woman you would think is not going to want to go into something like this, but it's an alternative lifestyle, and you might see a 1, 2, 3% doing it.
I'm wondering how many. Do you have a lot of people coming to you that their hopes are to live this lifestyle?
No. I don't have any clients I'm representing. I'm not really directly involved. I don't really have a dog in the fight, so to speak. But I think with gay marriage, I think polygamy is naturally following on the heels of gay marriage. Gay marriage is now legal in 7 U.S. states. And I think in 15 years, you'll see gay marriage probably legal in 40 states. And I like to think, what's the first state that's going to legalize polygamy? It could be done by a court, could be done by an initiative, could be done by the legislature. But I think it naturally follows on the right to gay marriage. And I should just say, a lot of people always ask me, well, plural marriage is like bestiality or marrying your rock or your dog. And I just want to make clear, you can't, under American law, marry a rock or your dog or a pet. You just can't. They don't have rights under the law. You could set up a trust for your pet, but you can't marry your pet. And I think those comparisons are unfounded. But polygamy is and I think it's over-romanticized. I think people think of it as, oh, it's sexy, or group sex, or menage a trois. But if you look at real people who are polygamous, it's workaday life. They're not really celebrating it, but they're living and they're getting by.
All right.
I think we have a tendency to over-romanticize it a bit.
All right. Thanks so much, Jeff Jarrett, family and criminal defense attorney. Certainly an interesting discussion.